That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years.
No, nothing really comes to mind. I was like, Shijing, listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be, this should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last, they call them Hitler, they call these things, America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
Sunny Hostin just got roasted so hard on live TV, she might need a lawyer to file a case against reality itself. What started as another typical smug segment quickly spiraled into a full-blown disaster for Sunny. And no, we're not being dramatic. This wasn't a clapback, it was a total meltdown. Greg Gutfeld came in hot, armed with his trademark sarcasm, and Tyrus wasn't just backing him up. He brought cold, hard receipts. Sunny? She looked like her confidence evaporated right off. The set. It was like watching someone try to debate with a blowtorch aimed at their talking points. This wasn't your standard daytime squabble. It felt more like a verbal demolition derby, and Sunny's ego? Front and center in the wreckage. If you think daytime TV is all cozy chats and polite disagreements, think again. This clash might have actually cracked the View's table.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter. So instead, let's check out this clip from Monday's episode of The View when the ladies put their science caps on and discuss the solar eclipse.
Let's rewind this train wreck. Sunny Hostin strutted into the studio like she had a monopoly on truth, draped in designer, armed with that signature glare, and ready to deliver a sermon. With a tone soaked in superiority, she kicked off what felt less like a hot topic discussion and more like a self-righteous TED Talk, like she was auditioning for a tenured seat at Woke University. Full-on professor of performative outrage vibes. But what she didn't see coming? Gutfeld and Tyrus weren't just passive spectators. They were locked in, loaded, and primed to turn her polished monologue into a full-blown meltdown. Instead of applause, Sunny walked straight into a buzzsaw of cold, unfiltered reality, and it hit harder than industrial hairspray from a rival network's green room. The kicker? Greg and Tyrus didn't even need to be on set to dismantle her. 1 minute, she was preaching her opinion like it was gospel, and the next, the narrative flipped, and not in her favor.
Nothing really comes to mind. I was like, Shijing, listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be, this should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last, they call them Hitler, they call these things, America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
Boom. Her whole speech got flipped into a viral meme titled, When Delusion Meets Data. Brutal doesn't even begin to cover it. Forget The View. This was a full-on roast session, and Sunny clearly forgot to wear SPF because the burns were relentless. Greg Gutfeld didn't even have to set foot on the set to blow up her argument. One savage soundbite, a dash of logic, and a side of Tyrus with that trademark deadpan delivery. And it was over. No shouting, no theatrics, just calm, cutting facts that sliced through her talking points like they were printed on clearance rack tissue paper. For longtime viewers, Sunny's meltdown wasn't exactly shocking. She's made a habit of treating that studio chair like it's her personal therapy couch. Every segment feels like a dramatic audiobook titled, How Society Collapsed Over Eggs Benedict and Voting Rights. Girl, it's a talk show, not Sunday service. But here's where it really went off the rails. Sunny once seriously suggested that voters of color only understand politics if they agree with her. Yep, she basically implied that if you're not locked into her worldview, you're confused, misinformed, or just not smart enough to make the guest list for her intellectual book club. In her mind, she's the grand gatekeeper of correct opinions. And if you dare to think differently, she's got a finger wag and a condescending glare ready for you. So, did she go too far this time? You tell us. The thing about riding a moral high horse is, eventually someone comes along and kicks the legs right out from under it. That's exactly what Gutfeld and Tyrus did. No need for theatrics. They sat back, dropped truth bombs like, it was target practice and let the chaos handle itself. Sunny? She came to a chainsaw fight with a foam bat, outclassed, unprepared, and completely overwhelmed. Would you like this as a voiceover script or formatted for a social media post?
Women, white women in particular, want to protect the patriarchy here because it's to their benefit. Yeah. They want to make sure that their husbands do well. They want to make sure that their sons do well. They want to make sure that their children do well. And they want to make sure that they do well. Most of the women in some of these studies are married white women, and they do fall in line with what their husbands are doing.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions? Yeah. Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full...
What made it even juicier? The way The View practically unraveled in real time. You could feel the oxygen get sucked out of the room as reality finally crashed the party. And yet, the co-hosts clung to their talking points like they were starring. In some off-Broadway production called Delusion, the tap dance. Whoopi gave one of those slow, solemn nods like she'd just witnessed the fall of civilization. Ana Navarro let out a dramatic sigh that practically screamed, "I'm not mad," just deeply heartbroken for the nation. And Joy Behar? She tilted her head with faux curiosity, clearly zoning out and mentally placing her post-show pasta order. Classic. That's the twisted charm of The View. It's less a panel and more a performance. Every opinion choreographed. Every disagreement treated like a virus, and facts quarantined like they're a national threat. And when Sunny drops a take straight out of a parallel universe, watch the table. The others either nod like well-trained bobbleheads or freeze in silence, afraid to catch whatever opinion virus she's broadcasting. It's like they've signed a silent pact. Agree, nod, smile, and under no circumstances challenge the queen of televised outrage. The rest of the panel? They stared at Sunny like golden retrievers waiting for a treat. Heads tilted, eyes glazed, synced so perfectly you'd think the producers were tapping a metronome behind the camera. And when Sunny's rant inevitably started to crumble, cue the AI. Emergency playbook, emotional appeals, the victim card, or the go-to move, change the topic. Fast, don't like the heat? Just scream misinformation, toss in buzzwords like dangerous rhetoric or threat to democracy, and wrap it in that signature smug tone that says, I skimmed one article and now I speak for all Americans. Usually that's enough to sweep the mess under the rug. But not this time, because Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't show up to play by The View's weird rules of daytime drama. They rolled in from the 5 like a comedy hit squad, armed with common sense, cultural fluency, and enough calm confidence to incinerate the whole script without even raising their voices. Would you like this turned into a narrated video script or formatted for a blog-style post?
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sunny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Yeah, broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican.
Gutfeld was dropping punchlines like landmines, each one quiet, precise, and explosive. Tyrus? He delivered facts like he was casually handing out Tic Tacs, cool, sharp, and effortless. Meanwhile, Sunny looked like she was swatting at invisible bees, desperately trying to smack down facts flying at her from every direction. No shouting from the guys, no finger pointing. Just calm, surgical dismantling. And the best part? Watching someone who built an entire persona around dramatic monologues suddenly meet silence, no applause, no nods. Just awkward, echoing stillness. You could almost hear her credibility deflate. And of course, she'll be right back at that table tomorrow. Fresh blazer, fresh outrage, and yet another marathon rant no one asked for, delivered with that same exhausted glare, like she's so tired of explaining the obvious to the rest of us peasants. But let's be honest. Once you get hit with a reality check that loud, you don't bounce back, you just simmer. Want this styled for a YouTube, voiceover, or Instagram reel narration?